Germany stands at a crossroads. On February 23, 2025, the nation goes to the polls in a federal election of immense consequence. This election carries profound implications, not just for Germany, but for Europe and the wider world. It is a moment of truth for a country grappling with internal divisions, economic anxieties, and a shifting geopolitical landscape. The outcome will determine the direction of Germany for years to come, influencing its role in Europe, its relationship with the United States, and its stance on critical global issues. The stakes could not be higher. Germany, Europe's economic powerhouse, is facing a confluence of challenges, from the rise of populism and nationalism to the ongoing war in Ukraine and its economic fallout. The German people are looking for leadership and stability in uncertain times. The choices they make in this election will have profound and lasting consequences. The world is watching closely. Germany's economic and political clout make it a pivotal player on the global stage. Its decisions on issues such as climate change, defense spending, and international cooperation have far-reaching implications. The outcome of this election will send a powerful signal about Germany's future direction and its commitment to a strong and united Europe. Subscribe, like, and share Cosmo Academia. The 2025 German federal election features a cast of familiar faces and rising stars, each vying to lead the nation into a new era. At the forefront is Friedrich Merz, the veteran conservative leader of the Christian Democratic Union, or CDU. Merz represents a return to traditional values and a focus on economic stability. His campaign promises to address anxieties over inflation, strengthen Germany's industrial base, and assert a strong German voice within the European Union. Challenging Merz is the incumbent Chancellor, Olaf Scholz of the Social Democratic Party, or SPD. Scholz, whose government collapsed last year, is fighting to regain the trust of the German people. He is campaigning on a platform of social justice, environmental protection, and continued international cooperation. However, he faces an uphill battle, with the SPD trailing in the polls. Adding another layer of complexity to the race is Alice Weidel, the controversial leader of the far-right Alternative for Germany, or AfD party. Weidel's candidacy has injected a significant element of uncertainty into the election. Her party's rise in popularity, fueled by anxieties over immigration, cultural change, and economic inequality, has shocked many observers and raised concerns about the future direction of German politics. The outcome of the election hinges on which party or coalition can best address the concerns of the German people and offer a compelling vision for the future. The 2025 German federal election takes place against a backdrop of complex challenges facing the nation. One of the most pressing issues is the economy. While Germany remains an economic powerhouse, it is grappling with rising inflation, supply chain disruptions, and the lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Voters are concerned about the rising cost of living and the future of their jobs. Security concerns also loom large in the minds of German voters. A series of recent attacks, including a stabbing at Berlin's Holocaust Memorial just days before the election, has heightened anxieties about terrorism and extremism. The war in Ukraine and its geopolitical ramifications have also raised questions about Germany's security posture and its role in NATO. Beyond these immediate concerns, Germany is also grappling with long-term challenges such as climate change, demographic shifts, and the integration of immigrants. The next government will need to navigate these complex issues with wisdom and foresight to secure a prosperous and stable future for Germany. The 2025 German federal election presents a range of possible outcomes, each with significant implications for the country's future direction. The most likely scenario is a coalition government, as no single party is expected to win an outright majority. The composition of this coalition will be crucial in determining the policy agenda of the next government. A CDU-led coalition, perhaps with the Free Democrats or even the Greens, would likely usher in an era of fiscal conservatism, a focus on economic growth, and a more assertive foreign policy. Such a government would prioritize tax cuts, deregulation, and increased defense spending. It would also likely take a more hawkish stance towards Russia and China. An SPD-led coalition, on the other hand, would prioritize social justice, environmental protection, and international cooperation. Such a government would focus on expanding social programs, investing in renewable energy, and strengthening Germany's role in multilateral institutions. It would likely take a more diplomatic approach to international relations. The rise of the AfD introduces a wild card into the equation. If the party performs well, it could make it difficult to form a stable government. It could also push the political discourse further to the right, influencing the policies of other parties. Subscribe, like, and share Cosmo Academia. The German electorate is diverse, reflecting the country's complex history and evolving demographics.
Older voters, who tend to be more conservative, are generally concerned about economic stability and security. They remember the Cold War and the challenges of German reunification.
Younger voters, who grew up in a unified Germany and a globalized world, are more likely to prioritize issues such as climate change, social justice, and diversity. They are also more comfortable with Germany's role as a leading power in Europe and the world.
The AfD's rise in popularity is partly due to its appeal to voters who feel left behind by globalization and alienated from the political mainstream. These voters are often concentrated in economically depressed areas and feel that their concerns are not being addressed by traditional parties.
The outcome of the election will depend on which party or coalition can best mobilize its base and appeal to undecided voters. Section 6. Germany's place in the world, international implications. The 2025 German federal election is being closely watched by world leaders and international observers. Germany's economic and political weight, coupled with its geographical location at the heart of Europe, make it a pivotal player on the global stage. The outcome of the election will have significant implications for international relations, European integration, and the Transatlantic alliance. A CDU-led government would likely pursue a more assertive foreign policy, strengthening Germany's military capabilities and taking a leading role in NATO. It would also prioritize close ties with the United States, despite recent strains in the transatlantic relationship. An SPD-led government, on the other hand, would likely emphasize diplomacy and multilateralism. It would prioritize strengthening the European Union and working with international partners to address global challenges such as climate change and pandemics. The rise of the AfD has raised concerns among Germany's allies. The party's nationalist rhetoric and skepticism of international institutions have fueled fears that a strong AfD presence in the government could undermine European unity and weaken the transatlantic alliance. Subscribe, like, and share Cosmo Academia. Section 7. A fractured transatlantic relationship? The 2025 German federal election takes place at a time of uncertainty in the transatlantic relationship. The U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, the AUKUS submarine deal, and ongoing trade disputes have strained ties between Washington and Berlin. The election outcome could further complicate matters. A CDU-led government, while committed to the transatlantic alliance, would likely seek a more balanced relationship with the U.S., one in which Germany asserts its own interests and priorities. It would also push back against American pressure to increase defense spending and take a more hawkish stance towards China. An SPD-led government, on the other hand, would likely prioritize repairing the transatlantic relationship and rebuilding trust with Washington. It would emphasize shared values and common interests, seeking to find common ground on issues such as climate change, trade, and global security. The rise of the AfD has added another layer of complexity to the transatlantic relationship. The party's anti-Americanism and skepticism of NATO have raised concerns in Washington. Section 8. The shadow of extremism, a worrying trend. The rise of the AfD is a worrying trend, not just for Germany, but for Europe as a whole. The party's success reflects a broader surge in populism and nationalism across the continent, fueled by anxieties over immigration, cultural change, and economic inequality. The AfD's rhetoric is often divisive and inflammatory, exploiting fears and prejudices for political gain. The party has been accused of xenophobia, Islamophobia, and anti-Semitism. Its rise has contributed to a coarsening of political discourse and a rise in hate crimes in Germany. The AfD's success has emboldened far-right movements in other European countries, who see it as a model to emulate. It has also made it more difficult to build consensus on critical issues such as immigration and European integration. Section 9. The stakes are high looking ahead. The 2025 German federal election is more than just a contest between political parties. It is a battle for the soul of Germany and the future of Europe. The choices made by German voters will have profound and lasting consequences, not just for their own country, but for the wider world. The world is watching closely, hoping that Germany will choose unity over division and a future grounded in shared values and common purpose. The stakes are high, but so too is the potential for progress. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share Cosmo Academia for more insightful content.